The inevitability of its doom is apparent to me now.
Hi everyone, welcome to Priority Holder, and today we're playing Black-White Doom Discard in the Timeless format. The card we're built around today is Doom Foretold, so it makes each player sacrifice a non-land, non-token permanent on their upkeep, and once someone cannot, a bunch of things happen, including discard and token creation, stuff like that. So the idea is that this is like an attrition card that can like grind out the opponent, and yet your deck is built around having lots of fodder to sacrifice to it. And so we're heavily built around the discard aspect of this, and so we have stuff like Tinybones Joins Up and Hopeless Nightmare that are discard spells that leave an expendable permanent behind. Even our removal, like Meathook Massacre, leaves a permanent behind, so we can keep feeding things to Doom Foretold and making the opponent sacrifice their more valuable stuff. We have Voice Knot to like work with all the different discard effects we have, and Bowmasters just for its sheer power and, you know, possible sacrifice fodder. Liliana the Veil for discard and edict effects, and we are running the scam package in here as well. So let's jump into some games. It's a pretty good hand. I mean, any sort of dark ritual opener is gonna be pretty nice. So we could play like we could play a discard spell and a Bowmasters off the dark ritual. I'm thinking it's probably actually better to just turn one Liliana the Veil. That's sort of the most expensive card in our hand, and you know, it accrues incremental value, puts them under a lot of pressure. So I decided to go for that, though there is an argument to be made for Bowmasters plus one of the discards. So we're gonna plus Liliana and pitch something.
I'm tired of your
pitching Malakir Rebirth here. Pitching Oko on the other side of the battlefield, which is really good for us because I don't know if we can battle very efficiently against Oko, but we see a Beanstalk on the other side. Alright, untap land is nice because that means we could potentially hit them when they try and trigger up the Beanstalk. So we're going to discard Tinybones Joins Up. See what the opponent pitches. Alright, they pitch Fable. So far, multicolor good stuff on the other side of the battlefield. But we have 5 loyalty Liliana already. Alright, so the Cracking Windswept Heath. I don't know if they're doing like stifle shenanigans or anyway, just want to get ready right here. So we're gonna shock in our land in response. Alright, so the opponent fires off Leyline Binding. And this is what we thought might happen. So we're gonna put Bowmasters in. That does expose the Bowmasters to the ley line itself, but it gets us an extra trigger and like a bigger orc army. So obviously the original intention was to hit Liliana, and they still ended up going for her, despite Bowmasters being quite good against them. But it looks like now Bowmasters is going to eat a Solitude. So this is actually somewhat of a good matchup for us because our deck functions best when the opponent has plenty of cards in hand, but the up to Beanstalks, they're gonna have plenty of cards. So now we have a tap land, otherwise we'd slam the next Liliana and start using that. Don't need Geier reach Sanitarium at this point in time, but we're just gonna smack them for 3 damage and then hammer them with Hopeless Nightmare. So if we can empty our hand, then the Liliana pluses won't do anything to us. So we'll see what they discard. And they already are down to 7 life, so they're going to do something. Alright, Omnath, Locus of Creation. Opponent has tons of card advantage. Omnath is a problem because they can gain them life in a hurry, so we're just going to Liliana Edict it away.
Happy to help, but I'm taking it.
Not only that, but allows our Orc army to descend in for 3 damage. So opponent's already at 4 life, so we gotta see if we can capitalize. Alright, Minsc and Boo. Really powerful Planeswalker. So they get their hamster and they decide what to do.
Actually, go big. Just go big.
And alright, so they decide to attack Liliana.
Sorry,
Let's see what they do with Minsc and Boo. Alright, and they just opt to put counters on it. Now Bowmasters is potentially game winning, though this is the kind of deck that can play Subtlety. So I'm going to be extra cautious here and play the discard spell ahead of time just so they can't pitch cast Subtlety. Alright, and they just have a beans, and so we just fire in the Bowmasters and lock up the first win. So feels pretty good. And but yeah, if you like seeing good stuff piles get discarded, please Waxbane Baku the like button, and we're on to the next one. And this hand is not nearly as good as the last one, but I don't think you can ship it away. Fighting against Luris. Alright, Swift Spear, turn 1. Well, we're happy to see Meathook Massacre in hand. Alright, we got Orcish Bowmasters, so we're just going to play the Backstreet. Bowmasters seems like it's going to be great in this matchup. There was an argument to just griefing right there. Just pitching... Yeah, I don't know. But the opponent's going to play Roiling Vortex and slam in with Monastery Swift Spear. We get dinged by Vortex, and we have Bowmasters. So we're going to fetch in just a basic Swamp here. Definitely going to cast Bowmasters. And I make just a grievous mistake right here. Pitch casting Grief into a Roiling Vortex. Anyway. Neglected to remember that it's going to punish me for free casting stuff. So, and that's just a horrible play to make against red. And the opponent has, of course, a really stacked hand. So I'm going to take Eidolon, but honestly, like, their hand is amazing, and we just basically give them a 0 mana 4 damage burn spell. So that's pretty rough. And all right, opponent's gonna hammer us with play with fire. And a scry to the top doesn't feel amazing right now. All right, they're gonna follow up with Skewer the Critic. So we already fall to 5. And the opponent's going to send in. Now we are able to chump with Bowmasters. We can't take down the Swift Spear, but we can preserve some life right here. The opponent does have like a lightning bolt at the ready. So we don't have a lot of time right here. We fall to 4. Dark Ritual gives us some options at least. The bolt is real tough because they can, at a moment's notice, raise the toughness of Swift Spear. So we can't get like too fancy with Meathook. So I decide just to play Liliana and just get rid of the Swift Spear. But yeah, we're just dead. It's really unfortunate because they can just bolt us and then the Vortex takes care of the rest. So that was a tough one, an unforced error from my side, but it's a really tough matchup anyway. We move on. We'll try and shake that off and move on to the next one. That was a really rough one. This hand is pretty nice. I mean, we got the turn 1 Grief Scam, so we'll get to see if that gets us there. It will do a lot of discarding before Waste Not even gets to do anything, so that is one thing that's a little bit like at odds with what this deck's trying to do. I'm trying to I end up deciding like just to pitch cast using Waste Not because most of our discard is going to be happening extremely quickly. Alright, so opponent has a bunch of Brainstorms, Counterspell, and a Galvanic Discharge. I'm going to take the Discharge because that is an immediate answer to the Grief. And we're definitely going to fire off the Rebirth right here. And seems like the next choice is to take Counterspell away from them. It doesn't seem very profitable to take a Brainstorm. They have a lot of them, and I don't know. So I first thought the opponent was just like going to like Rage Quit. Obviously, they just accidentally skipped their first turn. So, but their timers run out. We make them discard, but then all of a sudden, opponent comes back to life. And so I thought it was just gonna be a timeout win, but the game's not over, and we're stuck on land, so we're not exactly pressing our advantage. I mean, we do have a Grief in play and potential Bowmasters. So we'd love to snipe a Brainstorm and just really get them with the Bowmasters. Attacking with Grief. Now, ideal situation right here would be if they tried to use a burn spell on Grief, and we could, you know, Malakir Rebirth, save it, and make them discard again. So, or Protected Bowmasters if they try and burn it in response to like the Brainstorm going off. So we'll have to see what the opponent has. Nope, okay, the Bowmasters is just going to get them. Alright, so they keep their stuff at their Brainstorm. We get a bunch of Bowmaster triggers. And so the opponent just skipped their first turn. And so we're having a hard time pressing the advantage. I mean, that was huge right there, like Bowmastering their Brainstorm. So we'll have to see if the opponent can make anything happen. Nope, they just put a Triumph into play. The question is, do we play the Rebirth? It seems like with such low mana, we have to play it, and just in order to unlock the second Bowmasters. Alright, so the opponent finds a discharge, so Grief bites the dust. We still have 5 points of damage, and there's Leyline Binding. Okay, so opponent is basically right back in this game. Geier Sanitarium could be pretty good. It's like a wombo combo with Bowmasters because we can force them to draw. So we'll have to remember that and just hold up Bowmasters right now. But our little advantage we have is disappearing, especially now with Flage on the stack. Looking at the graveyard, they can already next turn escape Flage. And so they're of course going to target the Bowmasters. And this is a tough decision here, but I think this is what you have to do, is I'm Bowmastering in response, and I'm just going to try and get to the finish line by denying them the life gain. So it means killing my own creature with Bowmasters, but that keeps them at 5 life. Now we're in potentially big trouble. Doom Foretold's a dead draw. So we can attack them down to 3. And I'm reading Meathook Massacre here, so obviously we're going to attack. But Flage is going to come back next turn. And so you have to make the hard choice right here. And Meathook Massacre, despite me being the only one with creatures in play. And that is to ding them for 2 points of damage. Because when Meathook kills your own creatures, it dings the opponent. So we're going to kill our own creatures right here. And hit the opponent twice. The reason is now the opponent can't use their fetch land. Even if they had a Triumph, they can't use it. Alright, Teferi is an excellent draw because that's going to allow them to bounce their Leyline Binding and rebuy that and possibly hit a land right here. Alright, so they did not find a land, so we at least locked them out of like their one fetch that they have. The question is, can we actually string together a win before they find another land to cast Flage? So their shock lands are also out of commission. They're sort of forced to put them into play tap. So we're gonna Liliana. Doom Foretold's doing nothing right now. We don't even have the white mana, so it seemed worth it. All right, Teferi's gonna tick up. I'm just waiting to see like the tap Triumph come to play. All right, so but it's another fetch land which they also can't use. All right, Leyline Binding's gonna grab Liliana. Preserve their hand. Another Doom Foretold is real tough. I contemplate activating Geier Sanitarium right here, but it seems better to wait and not give them more information because they could hit a land off it, for example. So like, all right, so there it is. So they found a shock land. So this is our last chance right here. So we found a Hopeless Nightmare, which could possibly win. And the opponent discards a counterspell, Invert Polarity, and so that makes me like extremely scared right here because, you know, Invert Polarity would not only save them but like actively win the game right here if they Hopeless Nightmare and like got rid of our bonus Hopeless Nightmare. But we got there in the end. But we needed the huge assist of them skipping their first turn. Otherwise, I think it was clear we would not have won that game. So barely get there across the finish line. And then Stitcher Supplier from the opponent. Now we have a Dark Ritual, but it's obvious we're playing against Dredge right now. And allowing them to discard, forcing them to discard, is possibly extremely bad because they have many things that they want in the graveyard, but we have like the turn 1 Waste Not, so what else are we supposed to do? Like that's what our deck's trying to do. And that's what I mean right there. So they're able to pitch a Prized Amalgam, which is something that like they actively want in the graveyard. And they're going to turn 2 Glimpse themselves. And they hit a Narcomoeba, so that means those amalgams are coming back. Not to mention they hit Creeping Chill and obviously milled a Wonder somewhere in there. So just like that, opponent's going to get a ton of power. And they have a Silver Smoke Ghoul as well. So 3 amalgams and a Silver Smoke Ghoul plus Active Wonder means we're essentially already dead on our turn 2. Which is tough. I mean, this is a sort of nightmare matchup for Waste Not. Like, you'd have to be packing Leyline of the Void. And maybe honestly we should be packing Leyline of the Void, because we can pitch them to Griefs or to Lilianas if they're dead cards, but Phoenix is really strong, Dredge is pretty strong, and like there's other like strong reanimate strategies. But yeah, we're just dead right here. So those are the extra amalgam triggers, which are not necessary. And blood gas is coming in as well. So I think we weren't technically dead, but now with blood gas, like we're dead. So I guess they didn't have haste, but yeah, we were toast that game. So gotta try and shake that off. Turn 1 Thoughtseize. They take the Waste Not. So do we crack the Fetch and Hopeless Nightmare them? It seems like that's what we should do. Especially like no Waste Not in sight, like might as well hit them with it for mana efficiency. So let's see what the opponent discards. And opponent's already at 14. And they're gonna gamble. So they pitch Buried Alive, which part of me wonders if that was the card they went for. It's hard, it's hard to tell exactly. But the gamble bin to Buried Alive, so we'll have to see what the opponent. I mean, it's obvious they're playing like the Phoenix Reanimator deck at this point in time, so you got to see what we can do. All right, so they miss a land drop there. Bowmasters. I mean, they have Faithless Lootings and stuff, and they also have Lightning Bolts to help protect their Faithless Lootings. So we get our Orc army though. We draw land number 3. Getting close to Doom Foretold. Has not been a lot of Doom in these games yet. And cracking the Marsh Flats. So decide to go ahead and go for Doom Foretold here using the Phyrexian Tower. It's going to immediately crack right away. Put them down to 1 card, but we just get a lot of value off it. Like, they go down a card, we go up a card, and we get a creature. Now, they have a graveyard-centric deck, so strike it rich from the opponent. And, yeah. So they're just conceding right now. They're showing us what they had, and they pack it in. So, nice little Doom Foretold win right there. The opponent just sort of lost to themselves, basically, with the help of our discard. This is a pretty strong hand right here. If we had 1 more black card, it'd be incredible, because then we could turn 1 Dark Ritual, scam the Grief, and play Bowmasters, but we are 1 black card short of doing that. So, alright, playing against red-white energy, and Ajani just seems like the most problematic of the cards they have. Though I guess there is an argument for Unstable Amulet, because that's going to allow them to grind out the game without putting cards in their hand, which is effective against what we're trying to do. But I decide I could take both the Ajanis here and just to go for that line. My opponent is going to play turn 1 Ocelot Pride. And we have that well covered with the Orcish Bowmasters. Not even going to mess around, just going to take it out right now. And honestly feeling pretty good about this. Like, we've taken out 2 Ajanis and an Ocelot Pride. And let's see if they just play Amulet here. Alright, so the opponent's fetching, just drops an Unstable Amulet. And we'll have to see what they impulse draw. So that was a tough one. Geier Sanitarium, though, is going to do some work here, because it's going to basically force Bowmaster triggers on demand for us. Alright, so opponent. Alright, so they're going to impulse draw with Amulet first, and they find another Ajani. Oh man. Just when we thought we got rid of all of them, that is an incredible draw from them. They don't know about our little Geier Reach Gambit though. Not to mention there's a Guide of Souls, which is going to just immediately recharge their Amulet and get the whole engine going. So this is really tough. Honestly, there's an argument to killing the Guide of Souls if we can, but we only have 1 damage off the Bowmasters if we need it. So what I'm going to do here is wait till they get to their end step. And then on their end step, Geier Reach the 1 cat in play with the Bowmaster trigger. So I think this is a mistake. I think I should have picked Pitch Dark Ritual, because we could just play the land and play Liliana and just have more mana in play. So we're doing this on their instep because if they flip a Johnny into a walker, then they can't activate it, and then Grief can just crash in and kill it. So the opponent wisely does not flip it. And yeah, so we send in with these creatures. Opponent falls to 7. And honestly, I don't know. I get so excited about Doom Foretold, I slam Doom Foretold because it's going to just start eating up their resources. Maybe it should be Liliana there, but let me know in the comments, do you want to see more Doom Foretold? Like, I built it all discard themed this time, but you want to see like dedicated Doom Foretold, like really built around the sort of attrition abilities of it. And opponent drops another Guide of Souls and a Sun Cleanser, which is really bad. It's going to nuke our Orc army right there by nabbing all of its counters. And they're going off with Guide of Souls already with those creatures. So just when things are looking incredible for us, it's taken a horrible turn. Now we're not completely out of it yet because Doom Foretold is going to just eat up some stuff. But I think that was a big misplay in my last turn. First of all, not keeping the land, then not playing Liliana. I think things could have been better for us. So they're gonna have to sack something with Doom Foretold, and obviously it's Sun Cleanser. That's the worst card out there for them right now. Alright, so the opponent's gonna crash in just with the flying Guide of Souls. And we're losing life very rapidly. And we can see the opponent has a Galvanic Discharge at the ready. So they're gonna discharge the Grief. Interesting that they didn't do that pre-combat and try and get more damage in. But maybe they knew we had something with our priority passing. But anyway, we're going to hit them with Orcish Bowmasters and sacrifice it to Doom Foretold just to keep the, like... Oh, and we just now draw the Malakir Rebirth. That would have been so clutch to, like, bring the Bowmasters back. Alright, so I'm going to Edict them with Liliana the Veil. And we are like slowly chewing through their creatures, so Doom Foretold's gonna make them lose 1 more thing, and probably just a Johnny at this point. Yeah, they're gonna keep the big Guide of Souls. So we're like sort of hanging in there. We've gotten rid of most of their stuff, but of course Guide of Souls is just gonna beat down Liliana.
Oh, that's my
And Amped Raptor is really rough, and they have surplus energy. So let's see what they get. Alright, Galvanic Discharge, which of course they're going to fire off and kill the Orc army. So we have no more permanents to sacrifice, so that means Doom Foretold is going to bite the dust. Though in situations where you have a ton of mana and Geier Reach, you could activate it, try and find a Bowmasters to flash in. We are at no such position right now, and yeah, we're out of this game at this point. Just drawing lands at this point, and this one was tough. I think there might have been a winning line that I missed, but energy is real tough because they're just full of 2-for-1s, and that's it. Honestly, this deck felt sort of medium. Like, there are parts of it that are somewhat at odds with itself. So I'm running the scam package. You know, like, I love the scam package, but it just doesn't feel quite right here. Like, the scam, like when you scam someone, you're pouring a lot of resources into like trying to end the game quickly, getting out to like a head start and trying to close it. But we basically have no follow-up to like that kind of aggression. Like, you want to follow up with like Ragavans and stuff like that. We might be able to like stick like a Bowmasters and like close the game, but you know, just hitting them with some like random discard spells and hoping like a Grief solos them like is not gonna cut it most of the time. and it's like at odds with Doom Foretold's trying to do, like go for really long games where you're trying to grind them out. So I feel like that part needs to be shifted somewhat. But it could be like going in on like the whole discard thing is a little too gimmicky also. You could see I was really ambitious in my ideas in the sideboard. I was going to go for like a whole Dance of the Manse build around with like tons of artifact and enchantment discard build arounds and like recur these and Doom Foretold and like really whammy the opponent, but like it's just a little too slow and too ambitious. Like honestly, Doom Foretold itself is somewhat slow. So like you need measures to draw out the game. And so it makes you wonder, like, should I try and make another Doom Foretold deck that's more classically built, like stuff like Tithing Blade that depletes the opponent's resources while gives you fodder to sack to Doom Foretold, or maybe even like Oath of Kaya. Those are like the classical way to build around Doom Foretold. So, but anyway, that's the deck.